Oh.
Hi guys, here we are. We were with Bec today. Finally managed to get her on after about 4 weeks of me going, Bec, get on, stop being busy, or me not forgetting. So, Bec, how you been? We had a nice little stroll down the river this morning.
Yeah, we had a mint morning out.
Yeah. So for everyone, this is going out on Wednesday, yeah, but we're recording it on the Sunday. So it's Sunday today, isn't it? It's a long weekend. Who knows? Sunday.
Yeah.
So we started at UWA.
So we went for a long swim today, starting at UWA Matilda Bay, and we swam around hugging the riverbank on the northern side to Freshwater Bay. So it was about 10.5 k's.
Is that what you logged it at?
Well, you were logging it, mate, I think.
Yeah, I was. Let me get it up. Let me check. I've got 10.71.
Oh, I'll take it.
Ultra precise. 3 hours, 41 minutes.
Is that total time?
Yeah, 3 hours, 41, yeah. Average pace, 20 minutes a kilometre.
So it was a good day out. A friend of mine, Chris, who did the Life Without Limits series with me, which Ryan, or people listening, also paddled on. So when Port to Pub was cancelled, we quickly created a new swim, which we called the Port to Pub version 2, which was from Elizabeth Quay through to the left bank. So that was about a 22-kilometre swim, and my friend Chris and friends Chris and Jess did that with me.
What are we calling it? What are we calling we came up with a name at the left bank. People
were saying we should call it the Lizzie to Lefty.
Yeah, the Lizzie to Lefty. Yeah.
Yeah.
So look out for that next year, guys. It's happening. We're getting it organised.
Oh, are you organising it?
No, you are. Of course, you're organising it.
Professional organising. That's what I do.
That's your job. I just say stuff.
Today was good because Jess and Chris both had their kids there, and they jumped in, and we did a few they did a few legs and turned it over just as a bit of a relay, and that was great. So yeah, Chris and I swam the whole thing, and his family did a bit as well. So I think it's nice to I think the kids were a bit grossed out, like, oh, I don't know about river swimming, there's big jellyfish and all that sort of stuff, but it was just such a mint morning. Conditions flat as a tack. A dolphin came and said hello, and then they had
that was terrifying. We'll talk about that in a second, but that was terrifying. I was paddling. We'll talk about it now. I was paddling, and all I could see, I saw this like big, because the dolphins in the river, you can't really tell until they're up if it's a dolphin or a shark. And I just saw this big fish coming at you, and that probably and in my head I was like, oh, Bec's about to die. and then a second later you were like, ah! And then we realised it was a dolphin, so it was okay. But I was like, oh, Bec's about to die.
Yeah, but when I realised I wasn't about to die and that I had an encounter with a dolphin in the river, that was kind of magic. So I was happy with that.
Yeah, it was a good morning out, and we managed to. It was nice and cruisy. It was much more relaxed than the other ones that we've done.
I think that's the difference between river and ocean swimming, to be honest, because ocean swimming, obviously the conditions are a lot more variable. There's just seems to be a lot more that goes into planning along ocean swimming, whereas the river, because you can stop and you can have a bit of a chat, stand up most of the way because it's only, waist deep water. It just seems a lot more cruisy, doesn't it?
Checking your glucose is a lot easier in the river than it was in the ocean.
Yeah.
There's still a little bit of a current, but I don't end up being pushed like 10 meters away, and I'm trying to throw you your freaking like glucose thing, and you're trying to throw it back, and I have to paddle to get it, and then all of a sudden you've gone right off to righto.
So for the record, for people who I haven't met through the gym, I have type 1 diabetes, and as a swimmer, that's something I have to really closely monitor. I can't regulate my own blood glucose levels, so I inject insulin 6 or 7 times a day, and I have to check my glucose levels really regularly, which I do. I wear a little sensor embedded in my leg, and I can scan that with a little device that Ryan has in the kayak in a waterproof phone bag. But we have to do that at pretty regular intervals. And yeah, you're right. When you're trying to do it and I'm out in the ocean and drifting away and
Or throwing some like sea slug into my kayak, or
that was a sea hare. What?
yeah,
It was awesome.
it was freaking disgusting, man. It was one of the grossest things that I've ever had thrown at my feet.
Sorry.
But you just came up with this big blob and just chucked it on my kayak, and we're like, right, look at this, how cool! I'm like, what the freaking hell is that? It's like something out of Alien. I thought I was about to get like possessed by a demon.
I think they're cool. They're kind of like gigantic sea slugs. Well, they are.
Yeah, they're big blobs. That's what they are.
Yeah, I don't know what I mean. Sea slugs to me are always pretty tiny and like the macro things that you see when you go diving. So when you see a giant one, I think that's
that thing was like almost the size of my body. It was massive.
Was it? It's the size of your head.
Definitely the size of my head. So it's pretty big.
Yeah, but that's what I love about open water swimming is, you know, the nature encounters are such a part of it. And when we do that, when we go from like Leighton North, the north end of Leighton Beach, there's a fever of stingrays that is resident there, and there's like 20 or 30.
Yeah, we swam over those the other day. Like last time, I think last time we did the ocean swim before you're 25, we were going past that point, and there was a couple running around. It was quite cool.
Yeah, there's obviously one aspect of ocean nature that I'm fine just never encountering. But everything else
depends on how big their teeth are, isn't it, and how many they've got.
Yeah, it does. Well, I don't mind. I mean, I'd love to see. There's a school of hammerheads that hangs out. Well, again, resident down at Point Perrin, who I'd love to check out at some point. But any other type of shark, I'm fine.
Aren't hammerheads aggressive, but not really that dangerous?
They're pretty chilled. Yeah, I've dived with hammerheads, and they're not that fussed on humans. They
can't fit you in their mouth, can they? They've only got a little mouth.
They look prehistoric, don't they? I mean, have their eyes of that aspect.
Yeah, they are the weirdest look. They're one of the weirdest looking sharks. Yeah. They're quite strange. Like, why is your head like that?
They're very weird looking animals, but they're cool. When you see them diving, so they sort of hang out in big currents. So I think that's one of the. If I'm going to go reef diving, that's the kind of stuff. Drop down. There's a current ripping. It's a wall dive. You hook on, and then you just watch what goes past. And a lot of the time, it is full of sharks, and they just sit in the current, waiting for stuff to come along. And that's exciting stuff.
And then
it's good fun.
Just drop down, get it.
Yeah,
that's nice. Let's talk a little bit about your life and where you came from and how you. Because you weren't always diabetic. You're type. Which one are you again?
Type 1.
Type 1. So tell us a little bit about that. Let's go through it a little bit. So when were you diagnosed? What did you find out? How was it?
So I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes when I was 17. So that's 19 years ago today, actually, Ryan. Today is what they call my diaversary, the anniversary of my diabetes.
That sounds quite morbid.
It was like people mark it.
Dire, so.
For diabetes or diagnosis, not.
Yeah.
Not
but
dying.
The English language, it makes it sound a bit bad.
So yeah, I didn't have type 1 diabetes before that. So it wasn't like I just worked it out when I was 17. I actually developed it over the course of a couple of months when I was 17. And the symptoms, there is sort of this constellation of symptoms that it's hard to lock down into a particular thing. So as an example, I got very thirsty. I lost a lot of weight, obviously because I was drinking loads and loads of water. I had to go to the toilet a lot, but then I also had blurry vision. And so I went to get my eyes checked in case I needed glasses, thinking, here's a symptom here that I can do something about. And it wasn't until my mum dragged me to the GP and she was just listing off this whole every symptom that I had that it twigged with the GP. Wow, this sounds like type 1 diabetes. And that was pretty much a blood test, a diagnosis, straight into hospital. I was really quite unwell by that point, and hooked up to lots of machines and bits and pieces, and that was sort of 4 or 5 days in hospital, being told what my new normal was, and that was you can no longer metabolize carbohydrates and, to a certain extent, proteins. And so there's only 3 macronutrients, and I can't metabolize 2 of them without injecting insulin. And insulin's got a really important job in the body. It's a hormone that my body no longer secretes because my immune system destroyed all the cells in my pancreas that make it. Yeah. And insulin's job is there to run background metabolic function. So I need to have a long-acting insulin twice a day that just sort of sorts out what's happening in the background. And then I also need to inject every time I eat in order to be able to metabolize meal, snack, drink, whatever has gone into my mouth. So life with type 1 diabetes is like this huge balancing act. There are 42 factors that have been identified that influence blood glucose levels. So it's much more complex than just managing carbohydrate inputs and insulin inputs. It's sleep, stress, even the outdoor temperature, obviously exercise, heart rate, all of these that shift will make my blood sugar level change. So it feels like, in a way, like driving a Formula One car, because the tiniest little adjustment will cause my blood sugar level to swing, sometimes wildly, and that impacts how I feel immediately, and it also potentially damages my body long term. So there's a lot that goes into just showing up to life every day with type 1.
And it's one of those things that when you're coming into the gym and stuff, and we're like, because I'm very, very like on top of you about your stress levels outside of your exercise, as you probably get really annoyed with when I'm messaging you going,
no, I appreciate it, actually, right?
No, sometimes at the time it doesn't sound that way. Sometimes you're like, just let me lift, man. I'm just like, no, you're on half today. You just walked in and told me that you've had like this much shit this week and everything's crashing. So what are we going to do? So like, it's something that we're very mindful of, and it's something that everyone at the gym obviously knows. All the coaches definitely know about and should check as soon as you walk in, or if we had any other type 1 diabetics. I don't think we have any type 1 diabetics. If you are type 1 diabetic and you haven't told us yet, please, it's quite important that you let us know, because it does affect what we do with you, as we found out with Bec when you first turned up. Let's talk a little bit about that, because when you first turned up to the gym, we had to do a lot of experimenting with it, didn't we?
Yeah, I think every time a person with type 1 approaches a new type of exercise, there's got to be a lot of testing that goes into it in order to be able to successfully manage a stable glucose level for the duration of the session, and then also afterwards. So exercise will impact my glucose level for up to 24 hours post-session. So as an example, exercise timing is important. I know how to exercise, do weight-based training in the morning. It's a lot easier to do that because I'm fasted. I don't have any insulin on board yet, so I've got fewer variables to play with. But I remember the thing that I was finding challenging, that you were supporting me through, was trying to work out after work as well. Yeah. Because once I'm working out after work, I've usually got 4 or 5 injections of insulin on board already. I've got food in play, and then I throw exercise over the top. I've kind of got this quite complex storm going on. And then obviously the safety piece is I don't have the same ability to watch what happens to my glucose levels in the hours afterwards, because I'm going to bed shortly after that. So we had to nut a fair bit of that stuff out.
Yeah, I remember Saturday mornings used to be quite interesting. We worked out it was better for you to actually go and do like a long steady state swim and then come in afterwards, because Saturdays are quite intense just in nature. And like, once we kind of figured that out, it worked off a little bit better, but like it took us a while to get to that.
Yeah, so what I was finding on Saturday mornings is because...
You're just crashing, weren't you?
No, I was spiking.
Yeah, that's it. I get confused which way it goes.
If my heart rate goes higher than about 170 beats per minute, it causes, and it does this in everybody, not just people with diabetes, it causes adrenaline and cortisol to get dumped into your system, and they signal a fight or flight response. So they're saying, right, liver, and your liver stores about a couple 100 grams of glucose as glycogen. So those hormones, adrenaline and cortisol, they're saying, liver, drop all your sugar into the system, quick, smart, this person to run or fight. So that's what that high intensity exercise was doing to my system. And I was finding I had these massive high blood sugar levels during and afterwards, and I was sort of having to fight them for hours. So I remember I was messaging you guys saying, what's the session I needed in advance, because I need to inject insulin just to do this session now.
Yeah.
And then I started to go morning swimming before coming into the HIIT session in the morning, and that seemed to blunt the response my blood sugar level had. Kind of, I guess it would have depleted some of my muscle glycogen so that I didn't have enough in my system.
Yeah, because the cortisol would have started to be released, because as soon as you go past that kind of 60-minute mark when you're exercising, you get quite a big cortisol release, like just naturally it kind of just comes out. So I think it was probably a bit of that what kind of made it stabilize a little like that. It would have been a lot slower in like release of it.
I think it probably could have been that, but I think it's also, we have a certain amount of muscle glycogen and liver glycogen. And if I'm doing a steady state session, I'm depleting that. Yeah. So when I do get a big hit of cortisol or adrenaline, when I come into the gym and start pushing my heart rate high, there's not to release out into the system as glucose. So my sugar level doesn't go so high, which means I'm up for a whole lot of exercise on Saturday mornings if I want to come in and do the gym session, but that's okay.
Yeah, it's not like you really mind that much. It's hard to keep you still most of the time. So
no, I do like that. I like that double. Saturday mornings is and Sundays, they're my big hit out days. That's good.
No, they're your big hit out days. Sometimes I get confused between that and Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, whatever days are there in the week. Sometimes I get confused about your big hit out days.
But exercise is so connected to my mental health.
Yeah, I know.
And so, that it's, and I do worry about that in a way, because, and COVID-19's been interesting, because I think when the ability to exercise, if that's taken away from me, like if I become injured and have to really pull back, my mental health, unless I develop or work on the tools that I need to manage it, will go down the toilet along with my physical health. So they're so intertwined.
Yeah. I remember some of the conversations we had to have when you did your elbow was a bit busted in the lead up to your big swims, were very much along those, like, look, we can still do this. It's okay. You just need to change some stuff a little bit.
Well, poor Simon, I remember he rang me and I was in the car park at Bunnings. Yeah. And I just lost my shit. I'm crying.
And then Simon called me and was like, I'm just like, okay.
He just caught me at the moment where I was like, it was all coming down on top of me, and I was like, oh my God, I'm not going to be able to do my swims. And poor Simon got the full download that day.
And then you were in gym on Monday, and I was like, okay, we'll have a chat.
Yeah.
But sort this out.
Again, I so appreciate the way both you guys care about your members. You've been checking in on me, not only throughout the Life Without Limits campaign with the swimming, but beyond. And I think it's just such a point of difference that I've experienced being at Formidable, has been this sense of, we really want to make sure not only your physical is being worked out in the right ways, but also that you're okay. And that's huge and important.
Yeah, I think it's a big difference in, the way that we see ourselves. So we see ourselves as coaches, not trainers. So like, trainers are the guys who are going to watch you do reps and make sure you're doing your reps right and write your program. Coaches are there to coach you, and like coaching doesn't stop when you're in and out of the gym. Like that is an ongoing process in and out of the gym, and that's a really big difference that I think we need to get better at articulating to people from a marketing standpoint and stuff like that. Going forward, like we're coaches, not trainers. Like this is the difference that you're going to get. But also, like I don't think people get to experience it that often because there's so much like crap in this industry, like where people just don't give a shit. So, and that seems to become the norm now. Like people think that's the norm. And for me and Simon, that's never really been the norm or how we would like to see the norm. So I guess caring is a big thing. Or it should have always been a big thing, but I guess it just got lost along the way because I feel like it was like that. And then all of a sudden it got this big space where it just went, numbers are everything, like like the cheap box gyms and stuff like that, where it's like, you are literally just a number to these guys. Like, I probably shouldn't say the names of the gyms, but we know which ones they are, and they charge you like under $10 or around the $10 marks a week, like, you know, a month or whatever, like to come in. And like, how do you think you're going to get a service that's actually you focused if you're only paying that much money?
Well, I guess that's, I mean, what I like about it, you know, as a consumer is I have a choice. There's a spectrum of fitness options that are available to me. I can go to the big gym barns where there's 100 people and it's standard classes and this and that, the other in every class, and the gym trainer will never know my name. Or I can choose a more studio feel like what you guys have going on. And yeah, look, I guess it's just finding what's right for you. And I've found my vibe with you with Formidable, which has been good.
Sorry, I'm not giggling at you, like saying that. I'm giggling at, like, you know how you said, like, the trainer won't remember your name, and I was just thinking to myself, like, haha, your names are so good. It's like I remember everyone's name. I don't have to remind myself of everyone's name like all the time, but that's okay.
Oh well, yeah. Seems to me you do all right.
Yeah, buddy, mate, pal, friend.
Wow, you're making everyone feel so special right now, Ryan.
If I don't remember your name, I remember you. That's the difference, yeah? Like, I may not remember your name the first time, but I will remember you, and I remember the circumstances that you brought to me at that time, what's important. So, and I do work on trying to remember people's names. I do try. But anyway, let's go, before I just dig myself a hole and everyone realises that Ryan doesn't actually know who the freaking hell I am or their name. Simon, save me. Let's go back to you. So you recently did something pretty cool. Let's talk about that. And we touched on it before. Your Life Without Limits campaign, pretty impressive stuff. You're a pretty impressive person as it is with the stuff you do with the family centre. And we try and promote it as much as we can. And as you know, because we like supporting good things, and you're definitely one of the better things we've put our name behind and try to support. So tell us a little bit about, you know, the stuff that you do day to day, because you're a busy little bee doing a lot of good things. So hit us up. Let's go.
Well, you want me to start with Family Centre or Life Without Limits?
You can choose, mate. Which one makes more sense? Probably Family Centre.
Yeah. Okay. So just sort of following on from when I was diagnosed with type 1, every minute of my life from that day onwards has had some sort of thinking, planning, logistics, explaining, responding, adjusting, trying to manage this disease that has rules that feel like they shift with the wind, and it's invisible. I look like everybody else, but I have a whole organ in my body that just doesn't function. And I think one of the most challenging aspects of being diagnosed and then having to live with something like that is the isolation that you feel. It's something that you can't talk about in a real way with people who don't live with it, because they'll never really get it. And I've had a lot of empathy in my life, but it's that real peer connection that has been transformative, that has gotten me through a lot of the dark times. And so having experienced those times as a young person with diabetes, I wanted to be part of setting up something that would help connect other people, build a community around the lived experience of type 1 diabetes, educate, inform, motivate, inspire. And as such, I've had such an opportunity to be part of building the Type 1 Diabetes Family Centre, which is the non-profit. I'm their CEO, and we're in Stirling. We have a beautiful facility that we built that has now part medical clinic and health centre, but also very much an holistic space for wraparound social support and care. So we have camps, we have nutrition programs, we have diabetes education programs, we have online communities that similar to FSC, but they have thousands of engagements every month. And we've connected up over the past 5 years since we opened. We have around 1,500 families engaging with the family centre. Most of them have little kids who have type 1 diabetes, but we've also now built an adult community. And it's just been such an awesome experience to configure, really think through, assess community needs, and put together a service that is the first of its kind in Australia, that really helps to identify and meet the needs of people with type 1. The big thing that we have done is build connection, because it is peer support and connections that really are at the heart. They're just transformative in a life lived with type 1 diabetes. So that's been a big journey in the past. I've been on that project and doing that work for 7 years now. We've been open for 5. And life without. So
Bec, you were one of the key people who started it.
Yeah. So I was, I have an amazing board that's, and three of those board members have been with us throughout the whole project now. And I was sort of there as part of that founding group of people. So I, setting it all up. So yeah, it's been amazing. It's also been the most hectic thing I've ever done, because non-profit and building it up in this environment is challenging. But anyway, look, let's not dwell on that. Life Without Limits was a campaign that I started off in November last year. Every year I try and do a fundraiser for the Family Centre, because we get no government funding, and we're asking people to raise funds for us, and I want to lead by example. So I've done.
Let's back up there. So you guys get 0 government funding.
We get no government funding, no.
So everything that you've done has been based off fundraising either yourself or getting sponsors.
So we've got a pretty diverse fundraising portfolio. We have a couple of events every year, so fundraising luncheons. We have some corporate partnerships. We get a lot of community support now, but as you can imagine at the outset, we had 9 names on our database when we opened.
Yeah.
And we had to spend a couple of years really developing a track record of value to the community before we could start saying, and now think about fundraising for us. Yeah. We have a clinic that the copay that patients pay when they come in, it goes back into the family centre. So we, obviously right now with COVID-19 has just punched a massive hole through our income for next year. So we are going to have to pull back on a number of our services, which is really sad, and weather this storm, because people donating funds to charity at the moment. But yeah, Life Without Limits was a big part of this whole project that I've wanted to develop, which is a sense of, hey, it's important. I've always felt it was important to give back to community. And so I did the Great Southern Crossing, which was a bike ride across Australia a few years ago. We raised about $18,000 in a team with that. Then I've fundraised with my first Roto Solo, and so on and so forth. And Life Without Limits was the biggest project I've ever done.
That thing took off, man.
It was awesome. So we have, the plan was 3 big swims, of which I got to do 2 before coronavirus kiboshed everything. So it was a
Corona.
Rottnest Solo, the Port to Pub Ultra, and then swimming to Rottnest and back again were the 3 swims for Life Without Limits.
Yep. How much did you raise?
So I raised $82,500. My goal was colossal effort, mate. Like, honestly, every time I hear, when you were like ticking the numbers off on Facebook, I was like, shit. You got to 20 grand. I was like, shit, this is good. Like, and it was like pretty early. I was like, this is good. And then like next thing I see, it's like at 60, and I'm like, what the hell's going on here? Like, shit, like, you're just recruiting. people got on the bus, including FSC. You were the first major supporter to come on board.
I know, because we're really cool.
So, well, I think you guys recognise, hey, wow, this is potentially Bec biting off a hell of a lot more than she can chew, but if she pulls it off, this could be wicked. So,
I mean, for us, we were just like, holy shit. We you know, we're not new to open water swimming or swimming in general, and we went, holy fuck, this chick needs help. We need to help her. like, holy shit, she needs mental help. She needs physical help. This is nuts. Like, she's going to need just to be strong. Because me and Simon just looked at it and went, holy shit, man. Like, that's just, like, in 3 months, it was 3 ultras in 3 months. We're just like, shit, this chick needs help. Like, we need to make sure this chick can make it. Like, just make it. Like, we didn't really, like, when we do stuff like that, we don't really care about, like, us, because I never gave you a banner or anything, mainly because I forgot. But we're just, at the end of the day, it's like, one of our members wants to do this, and it's freaking cool. Like, this is a cool thing that she's doing. She's doing it for the right reasons. Who cares? Like, who cares what we get out of it? Like, let's just get her across the line, because the benefits for the community at large, yeah, and FSC, there's a lot of different ways that we interpret that. Like, you know, fitness strength community is one of the ones that we pipe on about a lot, and we mean that when we say it. Like, we started FSC or Formidable when at the start, and one of the main things that we wanted to do was support community. So as soon as you said that, and like you're doing this to raise money for this. And actually, when you first walked in, I think I told you and told us. Did you tell me first or Simon first?
Simon did my assessment.
Yeah, you told Simon, and then I heard about it. And I was like, she's fucking nuts. And I was like, okay, well, let's just make it work. Oh, let's just do it. Let's make it work.
And I think that the strength and conditioning component of training, I hadn't done that previously in a really dedicated way, and it made such a big difference. I really noticed, compared to the other people that I train with, that how much of a difference, everything from, you know, how I feel when I finish, my recovery times, the level of fatigue I get to, but, you know, and also how much water I can grab. Like, it's everything down to you guys training how strong my hands and grip strength, forearms, it's all about forearms, Ryan.
Yeah, man. Girls want big forearms, guys want big butts.
It made a big difference, and the whole project sadly was put on hold when the Fremantle Port Authority stopped giving permission to swim to Rottnest. So the double hasn't happened yet, but it's on hold. It's not over. I will plan to go back next season. But yeah, look, it was a real. I was a little naive, I think, in saying I wanted to do it. I can do the swimming bit, but wow, all of the sponsorship and the website and everything. I had the members of my team at the Family Centre were just so helpful with all of that sort of stuff. They really helped me put together a campaign, because that was sort of a lot of the ongoing aspect of it as well.
It's nuts. Like, what you did was nuts. Like, not just the things that you did for the money, but the amount of money you raised was like, but it's a real big effort. And I don't think, I still think people should be donating now. Like, I honestly feel like, is the site still up?
Yeah, I've left it open just because, you know, $2,500 to get me to my target of 85. I was thinking, if I can push that out.
This video is probably going to get on YouTube 20 to 30 people watch it in the first week. So if you're watching this right now and you think that this is worth, let's just go over it again. So Bec, how far is the first swim?
19.7 meters.
How far was the second swim?
22 and a half.
22 and a half. The third swim is coming. How far is that?
39-ish.
This was going to be done in 3 months. Yeah, one, then the other, then the other. So if you reckon you could probably scrounge up, how much do you need? 2?
2.5.
2.5. Okay, so if there's 20 of you here, divide it by that, and what is that number?
about $125 each.
All we need you to do, so everyone who watches this, donate $125 and Bec reaches her target.
I'd be stoked with 20. Whatever, if you're inspired and you'd like to contribute to lifewithoutlimits.com.au, please do check it out. And anything that you prepared to give is going straight into a non-profit that's WA owned and operated and gets no government funding and helps kids living with a shitty, challenging, tough autoimmune condition and their parents. So it would be fantastic if you feel lit up by that and you want to support.
And if you let me know that you donated, if you let me know that you donated, I will give you a virtual high five.
There you go. You got to be sold with that.
So there we go. So you watch, mate. You keep an eye on that website. You watch the Money Triple Up.
Thank you for the shout out.
Have you not realised I'm an influencer now? This is my life now. I'm now an influencer. Thank you, Corona. I opened 2 gyms because all I wanted to do was become an online influencer.
Well, it seems I can. You're everywhere, mate. You're on YouTube.
I'm everywhere, but no one sees it.
It's been a bit of for the gym. I know you spoke to Josie the other day about how she's flipped her training. I think everybody's had to get really creative in the last 4 weeks about how they're going to maintain life, business, training, all of that sort of stuff. It's been a bit of a crazy time.
Yeah, it's gone from the world's going to end to the government giving us everything, I think. And, that flip has kind of made it very relaxing at this point in time in our view. It gives us a lot of time to think about how we want to evolve the business going forwards when we reopen. So what's good? Mainly, a lot of it's centered around giving me and Simon more time, just more time in our lives than we did before, because I think we gave a lot at the start. What's something we just do because that's what we do. But it's more about rolling that back now, I think, a little bit. Not taking stuff away from people, but just making sure we're looking after ourselves a little bit more is kind of something that we're taking out of this in a big way. How have you been? How did you change your training? I know you're swimming in the river every day or every couple of days, but what else have you been up to?
Before I jump into that, I do want to just pick up on your point around that forced stop time that we've had. Oh. And I really think that has been just one of the beautiful silver linings out of all of the stress and anxiety that, and we're uncertain as an organisation. It's hugely uncertain about what next year looks like for our team and our operation. But it's been this hectic journey where at all times there's 1,000 balls in the air, and this is the first time, I think, almost in my professional life where there's been a pause, and personally as well. I am on the go from dawn till dusk and beyond every single day, and to have now these weekends where it's like, oh wow, there's time. That's been major.
I think the first, when D-Day obviously for us was when the gyms got announced as being closed, and I think for a lot of businesses that was kind of a lot of people that was, when those big closures happened, everything kind of got shut down. Was kind of when everyone went, it was a lot of panic going around, and me and Simon were both looking at each other going what the hell? If we don't get any help from landlords or whatever, there's no chance that we're going to make it through six months of being shut, having to pay rent and stuff like that. We were pretty much it's probably it, to be honest. And then, the assistance did come, and now we 2 weeks later, it settled down and everything's kind of been good. I think it's been a real good response from the community at large has been quite good in WA. And the government's I think the government's actually done quite a good job. Not to get political or anything, but I thought they did a good job with the situation. And now it's kind of you can breathe. It was a really weird thing to be saying, because at the start of this, it felt like, it's like you're in the middle of the ocean just treading water and hoping that someone's going to come save you. And now it's you can actually put your feet down and just breathe. if that makes sense.
Yes,
for
I
us
think,
anyway. We've got a lot more clarity. I think there was a 2-week period where everyone was freaking out, and then it kind of settled a little bit.
yeah, and I think right now with 0 COVID cases in WA for multiple days in a row, what we really need to see now is what's the plan now? What's the plan for after when we're coming through this? And I think business, I'm not going to speculate because it's not my thing, but I think businesses will recover faster than the charity and nonprofit sector. There are certain nonprofits that will do extraordinarily well out of this because they're there in urgent care. That's what they do. They do food insecurity, they do financial insecurity, they do homelessness, and they're the ones absolutely must be front and center and prioritized right now. However, there's, you look at what we deliver, which is healthcare social connection for quite a niche medical condition. What I'm hoping won't happen is that people forget charities and organizations out there, like what the Family Centre does and others. So that's important. I think it'll be a lot slower as a recovery for our sector because we depend on the generosity of the Australian community. And if people don't have extra funds to donate to charity, then charities will suffer. So, it is important to, keep supporting your local, especially your local or, something you're connected with, I guess. Yeah.
Like, doesn't have to be type 1 diabetes, but like me and Simon are very supportive of you because you're in our community. So we make sure to support you in every way that we can as a business and as individuals. We have something, we've got a challenge to talk about later that I just forgot to mention earlier. You tagged me a couple of weeks ago.
Yes.
And I didn't respond. I did respond, but I was like, no, I need to get the boys ready and we need to do something big. So we'll talk about that at the end so people remember. Okay. But just make sure you're supporting. Like, everyone needs to just make sure they're still supporting people after, like, once the dust has settled, I think. Because right now, everyone seems to be like, everyone's got to help everyone out. Everyone's got to help everyone out. What's great. But once the dust settles, everyone's still got to, help everyone out because it's not going to be, the gym's reopening, or for us, when the gyms reopen, it is not going to be like, we're still not going to be where we were before, and the expenses are still we will still have a hit, and that hit will still be there, and we still have to recover through that. So, it's really important that you support things that you care about straight off the bat. Like, the gym's reopening, like for us, the gym's reopening will not be like this amazing day in the history of our world. That could almost be as stressful for me and Simon as, the day the gyms got closed. Cause like, that's the moment where we see what the community is actually like, and who are those guys who said they'll come back when the gyms reopen, actually come back and save our ass, because at the end of it, or, not save our ass, but, come back or can come back.
Well, I think there's going to be a pain point for a lot of businesses like yours. As soon as that door reopens, your outgoings
back to normal.
Start back up, and back up to 100% of what they were before, whereas your income is going to take... It's
still down. Yeah.
And you got to suffer through that pain point and hang in. And so to a certain extent, there will be... it's coming, and there's going to be a bit of pain at that point. Yeah.
That's the sting point, I feel, for a lot of places. And like, you guys would be the same. Like, that would be the crunch time, I feel.
Yeah, but I think you're right. What I did see, and I'm now not consuming nearly as much news media because it was just crazy. But what I was really stunned by was, we see people stabbing people and fighting each other over toilet paper in Woolworths, and you just go, we have this very thin veneer of civilized life where we all act according to the rules and the social mores and all of this sort of stuff, and something big gives us a wobble, and that goes.
Everyone goes crazy. Yeah. And everyone's so civilized until one minor thing turns up, and then it's all me. Like, it's
how do I
stunning.
my
Yeah.
But what I did see as well is this amazing, the pendulum swung so
Yeah.
far to the side where now we do have, for the first time, you know, I've got a WhatsApp for my complex here where I live. You know, I've been living here for 5 years, and now all our neighbours are communicating for the first time. And
Yeah.
all this sort of stuff is, we're really seeing some of the community. So I'm hoping that we hang on to that when we're through.
The thing that I have, the most surprising thing to me that I did not know about before now, yeah? So I'm from Bunbury, I'm from down south. All my mates pretty much still live down south, yeah? So for us to, and if they're not living down south, a lot of them are FIFO, so a lot of them fly in, fly out. So for me to actually, and like I'm working weekends and stuff like that, so it's pretty hectic. So me actually getting into connect with these guys and going down south for a weekend when I'm working Saturday, having to go back. So you kind of get a Saturday night and then you got to drive back up. Well, it's never fun because you're with your mates, so you're probably hungover when you're driving back up. Ugh, Ryan gets drunk. But like it blew my mind that I hadn't figured this out already, and we did it a couple of weeks ago. Video drinks. Like, keep video drinks. Oh my God, my life changed in that moment. I had one video drinks with someone and I was like, this is great because I can go to video drinks with someone, not have to worry about driving, yeah? And then I can go straight to bed. Awesome. Far.
Well, I've had a couple of Zoom dinners.
Yeah, and you were saying that you have Zoom dinners. I was like, holy shit, how much better is that?
Well, you only have to cook for one person.
Yeah.
And then you only have to do dishes for one person. But also what I like is I hit a wall every evening, and it's like a 3-minute, you know, hero to zero process where I just stop being able to function. I hit my word quota. It's usually around 9 p.m. And at that point, if I still have people around at my house for dinner, I'm like, struggle town until they leave. So it was like, all right, well, it's probably time for me to go. So I'm going to leave the dinner now. Goodbye.
Do you know what Simon? I'm going to tell a Simon story because Simon's one of the funniest dude. Simon and Annika are quite similar, and this is one of the stories that I like to tell where they're actually quite similar. So like, so Simon does this amazing thing when you go over to Simon's place for dinner or something, and it gets to a point where he's starting to look tired. He'll no, what he does, he goes upstairs, gets changed into his pajamas, comes back down the stairs and says, all right, get the message, get out of my house. That's it. Dinner's over. So him, and a shout out to Trav Netterpelt also does that. I think Simon might have stolen the idea of Trav, but like, it's just hilarious. Like, nah, I'm done now. Bye-bye. I'm my pajamas on. What are you doing? Why are you still here? Or he'll just go to bed.
In bed, yeah.
Like, I don't know if it's like a swimmer's thing, because a lot of swimmers do this. Like, they just all of a sudden they go, okay, bedtime for me now, because like you're trained to just when you're supposed to be in bed, you're supposed to be in bed because you've got to get up at stupid time in the morning, yeah. So like it's like, okay, 9 o'clock max cutoff time before I have, because otherwise I'm too much in sleep debt, yeah.
Yeah.
Bye bye. Go to bed, and just goes to bed, and we'll just go to bed and just leave parties. Like,
I'm the queen of the ghost exit.
Just leaves. Bye bye.
Yeah.
See you later. Yeah. Ghosting people. It's a great trait to learn. Don't be that person who's standing there just because they feel like they don't want to be rude. If you're tired, you're probably not that much fun to be around anyway. Go to bed.
Oh, that's exactly it. I've got nothing. When I'm tired, it's not, you don't want to be around me. I'm grumpy, and all I can think about is how much sleep I'm not getting.
Yeah. Well, you go
to...
What was that?
You go to bed super early.
Yeah, 8 o'clock every night.
Oh, 8. Oh, okay. 8 o'clock. All right. I'm 9 p.m. 8 o'clock's early.
No, well, work it out. I have to be up at 4 o'clock in the morning, yeah, to get ready to go to work, yeah, to be ready for you. You guys can just roll into the gym, yeah, because it's like you're rolling into a work. You turn up, you wake up during your workout. You probably should be awake for your workouts, but this is what everyone does at 5 in the morning or 5:30 in the morning, yeah. I have to be on. So when you guys walk in, I have enough energy, or I'm projecting enough energy to get you guys up at 5:30 in the morning, yeah. So if I've just rolled out of bed half an hour beforehand, I'm in the same space as you are, because I can't wake my body up at that time because your body's not supposed to, like, it's dark. Your body's not trained to be awake when it's dark. Yeah. We're supposed to be awake during the daytime. So you have to be up early and you have to have woken yourself up. That's why I always do those morning routines before I get on calls, before I go to the gym. Like, if I don't do that morning routine in the morning, I need about 6 or 7 coffees to get going.
What's your morning routine? Have you gone through this in a podcast before that I missed?
I probably have, but I do it all the time. So I probably mention it every time we go through it because it's important. So I wake up, I do my 5 minutes of breathing and visualization. And I've found, since I started doing breathing and stuff like that in the morning, I do not need coffee I can delay the need for caffeine for a long time, and my caffeine consumption has dropped dramatically. I think it's a combination with that and actually going to bed at the right time and making sure
what kind of breathing?
I just lie down, I turn on like the sounds of the forest or whatever, and I just visualize certain things that I visualize. No, I don't do my day. I do my, I go through my dream house, and my dream house has all the things in it, like photos or whatever of achievements that I want to do and stuff that I want to do like that. So you walk past it and so you don't have to go. So for me, I find it a more effective way of doing it because you don't have to necessarily visualize every moment that you want to achieve. You can just walk past the photos and you can see yourself achieving it, like you walk past photos. Does that make sense? So it kind of works that way. So, and then you just walk around your house and I'm ready to go. And then I wake up and I write down, I do my 3 action steps for the day, and they most of the time will be exactly the same thing. And it will be do something for yourself, do something for someone else, do something to improve yourself. Sometimes they are specific, but they generally have that theme. Because as a person, I give more than I give to myself. I give to others more than I give to myself. So I make sure if you notice, there are 2 things on there that are very directly about me and improving me or looking after myself, and 1 about other people. That way I make sure I get at least 2 things in that are solely about me or developing me as a person.
Cool.
And those things just stick in the back of your head. Like, I don't have a specific goal for the day because every one of my days, small business owner, I could get an email in the morning and my day completely changes, or I've had an idea and I've told Simon about it that day, and now my entire week has changed because that idea is, this is just what happens in my life. I just have ideas, and poor Simon has to filter all these ideas out. So we're not doing a million stupid things, like one day I was like, we need to get better at auto regulating people when they walk in the door. And Simon was like, okay, Simon, okay, Ryan, how are you going to do that? I was like, we need to buy a $3,000 jump mat so we can have a rolling average of every person in the gym. So when they walk in the gym, they do a vertical leap and we get the number of how, it gives you a force production number, and they do 3 of them and we get, the average of that, and it goes into their rolling average. And if they are down on their average, we know we need to lighten their load. And if they are up, they are cleared to do more. Or if they're around the average, and it'd be a rolling average. Does that make sense?
Yes. How did that go with Simon?
Simon was like, first off, Ryan, this isn't the freaking AIS. We could probably do it a lot cheaper and easier than that. And I was just like, no, Simon, I've had this idea. It would completely change the game. It would be so freaking, and it would be freaking awesome. And there's no denying it would actually do really well, but we do it in other ways. I pretty much just ask you as you walk in, like the Train Heroic app. Yeah. How you do those questionnaires in the morning, and I can go, okay, if it's green, you're good to go. If it's orange, we need to adjust. We need to see why it's orange. If it's red, we need to drop stuff. Yeah. So we can do it in other ways, and it's a lot cheaper. So the jump mat itself, you have to, the one that I was like, we have to get this one. This is the only, you can get cheaper ones, but we have to get this one. And it's this thing, and it takes up freaking massive amount of room. Yeah. It's a pretty substantial bit of kit. It costs $3,000 US, and you have to get it shipped from the US, and they don't ship it to Australia. So you would have to organize a private freight for it to get here. And I was like, it has to be this one. He was like, yeah, right. I love the kit. I think it would be really cool, but we can't afford that. And we're never going to spend that much money, and we're never going to have that much excessive money to justify spending, almost 10 grand to just get this thing here. What's probably going to break. So,
question with that series of questions that Train Heroic asks before every workout, is the process you've got to implement a kind of process at gym level to check in as people walk in the door. They do the 5 questions or whatever it is, and you're like, what's your number, what's your score, and you would modify the workout on the basis of that score. Is that the idea?
Yeah, but yeah, pretty much. But I don't always ask what the score is. Sometimes because everyone walks in, I ask them how they are, and I can tell by looking at guys, because I see them all the time, if they're walking in a little. Like I could tell if you're just a little bit under that day or a little bit up that day. I can pretty much tell as soon as someone walks in the door based on their body language, if they say hi to me or not, if they smile as I say hello to them, if they acknowledge that I said hello to them, stuff like that. Yeah. Some people, like, everything is an average, yeah? Some people will have the same patterns. And if you know if they do something out of their pattern and which way it will be outside of that pattern, everyone opens that door the exact same way every time they walk in.
I open it like this.
Because you can like everyone, that's why I keep the door shut. You know how the door is most of the time it's shut? At Wembley, Freo is a bit different. We don't have a door, but you can tell as they walk through, they either bounce in, they crawl in, they slide in. It's freezing cold, so they've got like freaking layers on. And they're just like, because it's got no windows. But when people turn up to Wembley, I make sure that door is closed most of the time. So I watch them open the door and see how they react when they open that door. There you go. You're now going to chat every time you walk in. Yeah, every time. It's the first and last part of your workout, opening and closing the door. And it's the hardest part of everyone's workout.
Yeah.
So stuff like that, like you can tell when people walk in. So if I notice that something is not the same, then I'll get very specific and ask them about their scores. So like every time you walk in, I don't ask you about your score, but I will probably go and check in with you. I'll always go and check in with you. I'll say, because you go in the afternoon, and for you, I know that you're always stressed out because you work hard and you got a lot of responsibility. So I go, how's work today? How you feeling? Glucose good, blah, 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 blah. There's like 5 questions that I probably always ask you in different ways. And if there is and sometimes I just go, sweet, you're all good. And I leave you for the rest of the workout because I know that you like, when you're there and you're in the zone, you like working out, but you don't really need me there that much. Yeah. But sometimes some days you come in and you're a mess. And I will go, okay, I need to hang out with Bec for most of the session today. And that's the same with everyone.
Yeah. No, that's cool.
See, this is what you don't get with trainers. This is what you get with coaches.
Well, I think it's been just to circle back to your question from a while ago about how training shifted. I asked that.
When was that?
We went down a little bit of a rabbit hole, but that's been a big shift for me. Is I guess I'm still as active, possibly more active than before, finding new ways to swim given the pools have closed. It's a lot of river and ocean swimming, which I'm actually really enjoying, although I have just bought a wetsuit because it's starting to get cold. That I'm really missing the community. I think that's the bit. It keeps me accountable. It's something, people to check in with, my swimming buddies who I see at squat all the time, Coach Paul Newsom at Swim Smooth, you guys at that face-to-face interaction. I know lots of people are saying, the way we do life and exercise and gyms and everything, it's all going to be different on the other side because everyone's going to be using apps and doing it on their own. And I'm like, I don't want to do this on my own. Working out with a kettlebell and a band thing, it's fine. I'll do it as long as it's a temporary measure, but this is not going to be a permanent thing for me. I need to go somewhere, see people, and do that connection piece. That's important to me.
I think also with that, a lot of people thought that they could do it themselves. And a lot of people thought that it would be easy to do it themselves because they've been working out with a gym and now they have the technique and all they needed was the technique. But I think a lot of people have found out over, especially the last couple of weeks, that, having a coach there who's going to check in on you, make sure that you're there, message you if you don't turn up to sessions and stuff like that, is the reason why they got the results they got. Like, anyone can write a workout on a piece of paper or put it into an app. Like, it's when you get there and you've got someone in front of you, or even on the Zoom calls or whatever, like, you've got someone there who's going to keep you accountable and keep that eye on you is really important.
Yeah.
So I think that's always going to be there, but I do honestly think there will be a lot of people working out from home now, or PTs will. There's going to be a lot of people traveling to people's houses. PT travel to homes is going to become more of a thing. Because everyone's just spent all this money decking out their gyms, and now they've got used to it. I feel like PT travel to places is going to become a thing, more of a thing than it was before.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah. I think that might become a bit more of a thing, but other than that, the online thing's always there, and it always has been there. It's just that it was the only option. If that makes sense.
Look, I think the way you guys pivoted things and set how fast you set up training and band work and all that stuff. I mean, we had it in play 2 weeks before it even happened. Yeah, and it's challenging. The workouts are challenging. It's enough, but it's not. I want to see the people as well. So yeah, that's the piece. Yeah. I'll be back.
Yeah, I think also on that with I'm a forward thinker, and I like to prepare for scenarios. Yeah, so as soon as it kind of got out of China, I sat down with Simon and I went, look, Simon, it's out of this place now. It's now traveling, so it's obviously in air traffic. So at some stage, it's gonna get to Australia in some form. We need to be ready for whatever that is, and we need to have a couple of variations of what we might have to do. And I was like, we already have online training because I coach a few athletes online. Only a very specific amount, and they have to, there's a lot of criteria that they have to go through to go online with me because I don't really like it that much. But we already had all that stuff in place. So for us, it was just like upscaling it a lot, if that makes sense. Instead of just it was just about okay, now it's available for everyone. So it was more the upscaling what was the thing.
Yeah, cool. No, it was good.
All right, I've got a surprise for you. So tell us about your latest challenge.
So the Family Centre's latest challenge is a campaign we call Let's Get Physical, and that's something where we're challenging people to 25 days.
You should have a theme song for that.
Wow. Let me think what it could be. And you don't have to wear Lycra. But yeah, it's 25 days and you can select your exercise. It can be 30 burpees a day, 25 push-ups a day, I think it is, or 2 kilometers of walking, or I think it's 50 squats. And have I got the number right?
No, you haven't. No. So
okay.
I'm typing it in because I've been on it a few times. I think from what I remember, it was 25 push-ups, what you are doing, yeah? Yep. 25 push-ups, 30 burpees, and then an ultra marathon. Yep. So that was 2.5 a day, I think, of either walking or running. 2.5,
right.
Or run or walk or whatever.
And there were one of my colleagues, Gabby's chosen to do.
Yeah, and then you could create your own.
Yeah. So that the 2Ks, 2.5 Ks of walking adds up to 50 kilometers over the 25 days. Is an ultra, but yeah, look, it's something that we're encouraging people to do just to stay active. If to video it and pop it up on social media, because if it didn't happen on Facebook, it didn't happen. And encourage your people to get behind you with your commitment by making a pledge in the form of a donation to the Family Centre. So it's been something that we've had quite a lot of the community get on board with, and I think it's got one of those cool win-win things because they're getting something out of it. They're feeling stronger and fitter, and they've got a project, and the Family Centre has had a bit of support through it, which has been awesome.
Yeah. So this leads me on, because you nominated me and I said I would do it, but I wanted to get it right. Okay. So me, Simon, Adam and Jules, we put our heads together. If you hadn't watched the last coaching chat, we just had a big argument about what we were going to do for the last, I think, 20 minutes. And I kind of said, if you want to skip this crap, I put a little bit of wording. If you want to skip this crap, go to this time because you don't want to listen to this, because I don't edit them. So I don't cut stuff out because I find it funny. So I just said, if you want to skip, a little bit of wording popped up saying, if you want to skip, go to this point. But I think what we decided, and it's not 100% yet because Simon keeps wigging out, but we said we'll do all 3.
Oh, cool. What, every day?
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. What
So
is
I think
Simon out for? He could do
because
that in his sleep.
he's got to do 30 burpees.
How many did he get done in his challenge like last few days?
17
Oh, Simon.
of the slow. Is it with the burpees? Yeah. Are they all the way to the ground?
They are whatever way you want to do your burpees.
Okay, sweet. So we don't
I'm
have
not
to go all the
making
way to
rules.
the ground.
No, you can just go down to a plank and come up.
All right, sweet. Yeah, 30 burpees should be fine.
But I'd like to see Simon try to get to the ground a few times.
He does. That's what he does in his other ones, and they're the slowest things I've ever seen in my life. Do you watch any of those?
I would. Can he do like that speed up thing? On
He
the
should.
Video?
He honestly in videos should speed stuff up
That'd be good.
because then we wouldn't have to sit there for 2 hours watching him do 17 burpees.
Well, look, I mean, I think that sounds like a terrific idea. Thank you
Yeah,
for saying.
to be confirmed. To be confirmed, but
Okay.
I'm saying it now. Okay, starting Monday. Oh no, we'll do it when this gets dropped. What is Wednesday? For Wednesday, because then I can sort it out with Simon.
Okay.
So yeah, push-ups, burpees, and run/walk 2.5 kilometers from every single coach.
Maze balls.
So that is apparently what we're doing.
Thank you.
Simon I may have just jumped the gun there and gone a bit too far, but it's on camera now, so we have to do it.
Sorry, Simon. Sorry, not sorry.
Are you going to do it too?
Sure. I've been doing push-ups. I keep forgetting to video them, but yeah.
I can tell you're doing the push-ups. I can see it in your guns.
Ooh.
Don't do that again.
Oh, I was scary.
Yeah, I was terrified. All right, we have started going round and round in circles a few times now, so let's not do it again. Bec, thank you for your time.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me on.
We've been hanging out a lot today, and I think you're probably sick of my voice. So we're gonna end this now, okay? And I'd like to say thank you for coming on. And for people, what do they need to go to donate money to you or the family centre, not to you personally?
Type 1.
Give us your bank account details.
Oh, to Life Without Limits.
Oh, whichever one you like. Both of them.
So the easy one is lifewithoutlimits.com.au. That is a swim website. If you'd like to explore the Type 1 Diabetes Family Centre, our website is www.type1familycentre.org.au, and that's with the number 1, type1familycentre.org.au, and you can check out the Let's Get Physical Challenge, Life Without Limits, all the things we do with kids and families living with Type 1 diabetes there.
Yeah. And I'll put the links of all those in the comments for when this goes on the Facebook group and the YouTube description as well.
Terrific. Thank you.
Because, you know.
And thanks for paddling for me. I appreciated it.
Oh, it's good. I got to get out in the freaking oceans this morning. How good was the sun this morning?
Oh, it was magic. That's what for me in the mornings all about, is that sunrise and the glass water and
the ducks. Got a thing about ducks. I like ducks.
Okay, so just before we go, when I did the Life Without Limits swim, Ryan said he would paddle for me from UWA. So I'm swimming for 2 kilometres, and I knew he was there and he was supposed to be coming alongside me. And I'm sort of on my own in the river. And finally, Ryan comes up in the big yellow boat, and I was like, "Where the hell have you been?" "Oh, I saw some swans." Like, "Oh, you saw some swans, did you?"
I was just hanging out with some swans for a while.
40 minutes with a bunch of swans. Meanwhile, I'm in the middle of the river waiting for my paddler. What the hell? But you did a great job. You kept me on track and pointing in the right direction because I swim right all the time.
All the time. All right, Eve, let's finish this because now we're going to talk about how you can't turn left.
Okay. All right.
All right, guys. Thank you for jumping on, for all those 30 people that watch my YouTube channel, and for all the guys on the FSC support group. Thank you, Bec, for being here today. Stay strong, stay safe, stay connected. Be formidable.
Should we do a fist bump? Camera fist bump.
Yes. I always press the stop record button. All right.